All I gotta say is I told you so. And I'm going to need an apology from everyone that disliked my previous Starfield video. If you're not familiar with that video, I made a video a few months ago talking about how Starfield is going to be a disappointment, right? I kind of predicted it. I mean, I kind of knew this was coming, and I gave my reasoning. I gave the details in the video. Some people didn't understand, so maybe I'll just give you a brief summary. So in my video, I pointed out how this game's RPG is going to be very bad, and everybody knows Fallout, everybody knows Morrowind, everybody knows Oblivion for their RPGs, not because of their combat, not because you can build ships, you can build settlements, but you strictly know that game for their story and their RPG elements, right, being very strong. Now, I said this about Starfield. I said that the RPGs are going to be very bad based on what we got from Fallout 4. Now, I said in the video also that Fallout 4 was a huge downgrade from Fallout 3. We're not even going to bring New Vegas and Fallout 1 because those games are just... Fallout 3 is not on the level as New Vegas, and Fallout 4 is not on the level as Fallout 3 or New Vegas, if that makes any sense. So I said that the RPGs are going to not be good. I did provide a clip of the story writer talking about how you can write the best story, but the people are just gonna focus on trying to have fun in the game, right? They're gonna try to spend time building and settlements, and that's what he said. He wanted to focus mostly on building settlements and side quests more than he wanted to focus on the story and RPG element, right? So I said that this because the same writer for Fallout 4 is the same one that came. I forgot his name. Is it Emil or something like that? But the same guy that wrote for Fallout 4, or the director or whatever, is the same guy that is working on this game. So I said that, and then before that, we seen a little bit of the gameplay for Starfield. I think it was the Starfield showcase or whatever, right? I remember this came out way before. So we seen a little bit of gameplay of Starfield in the Starfield showcase. Now it started off cool, right? And then I seen something, I was like, oh man, this is the same. They're doing the same thing they did with Fallout 4. So instead of focusing on RPG, on how you can change the world and make a believable world and outcomes get to be changed and your decision matter, they focus on giving the player quantity over quality. More side quests, more things to do, like building settlements. That's what Fallout 4 had. And then now in this game, you do have building settlements in this game, and you also have building ships. And since I seen those two elements that were coming back, or at least they were bringing to Starfield, I had a suspicion that the RPG was going to be super lackluster. And if you remember, Fallout 4's RPG was brutal, or quests and outcomes and change in the world. Their RPG elements were brutal, and I told you so. I remember seeing in the comments people calling me PS4 fanboy, whatever. And mind you, they haven't even watched all of my other videos where I crap on PlayStation all the time. I'm not a big PlayStation fan, not anymore. I used to actually be both on the side of Xbox and on the side of PlayStation. I actually didn't give them no favoritism back then. But when the PS4 and the Xbox One came out, of course there was a better console. And I'm not gonna say I was letting PlayStation get away with everything they could, bringing out terrible games, and I'm saying, oh, it's good. No, I wasn't a fanboy. I would criticize PlayStation and I would criticize Xbox, and I criticized both sides. And can you believe I got called a PS4 fanboy just because I said Starfield would be a disappointment? I'm waiting for the apology right now, because, and I'm I'm saying this now, and I'm sure none of those guys are going to watch this video, but Starfield is the biggest disaster since Cyberpunk. This is arguably the worst game of this year, and there is no way a hardcore Bethesda fan, a hardcore Fallout fan, a hardcore, any, Obsidian, whatever fan will enjoy this game. There is no possible way anybody will enjoy Starfield. And I remember somebody saying Starfield is going to be Fallout 4 in space. Yo, I was even surprised. Despite I knew this was going to be bad, I was surprised how bad it got. And one thing I learned about Bethesda is that they will, since Skyrim actually, because I've played Skyrim, I've played Fallout 4, I've played Fallout 3. Something I learned about Bethesda is that they learned from Skyrim. So once they dropped Skyrim, right, they figured out how everybody would still play their game despite it was a huge downgrade from Morrowind, right, from Oblivion. Despite it was a huge downgrade, and when I mean downgrade, I mean RPG wise. Despite it was a huge downgrade from their old RPGs, people still bought their games and still played it and still praised it at that. I couldn't believe my eyes by the amount of Bethesda fanboys I've seen on the internet, right? But we're gonna talk about that later. So they learned, right? They learned that people would still buy our game despite our RPG. Our RPG elements are downgraded, and mind you, the RPG element is downgraded because they wanted newer audience to the game. Because if anybody from Skyrim go and play Fallout 1, I guarantee it's going to be they're going to have a different experience. They most likely will hate Fallout 1 more than they hate Skyrim. And that's because Skyrim is meant for the normies. And I noticed that no hardcore Bethesda fan actually enjoys Skyrim. So they learned from Skyrim, right? So they dropped Skyrim and everybody enjoyed it. I remember Skyrim having all of the praise. I mean, they had 3 release back to back of enhanced version of Skyrim or whatever. There's a bunch of different Skyrim releases that happened. So they released Skyrim and they noticed that people didn't care about the RPG. They just wanted a big world. They just wanted somewhere where you can run around and check out different side quests. And I noticed that with Bethesda also. Their main quest is worse than their side quests. Like, for example, in Fallout 3, there are better side quests than there are main quests. And we'll come back to that later also. So there are better side quests than the main quest. The main quest is literally the worst part of Fallout 3. Side quests, not all of them are good. I would say a minority of side quests in Fallout 3 are actually good. Now, so they learned from Skyrim and they went to Fallout 4. Now, I asked myself, I didn't know the RPG elements can be downgraded even lower from Skyrim into Fallout 4, right? So Fallout 4 was the lowest you could get in RPG, right? You couldn't get any worse. That's what I would think. You could not get any worse. And I know this question's, or this statement's been said, this question been asked, how can it get any worse? Bro, Starfield is how it can get worse. And we're going to speak about that today. And fellas, this is again the biggest disappointment of any Bethesda release, man. This is the worst Bethesda game this is the worst you could get. And I'm saying that now, and watch Fallout 5 be even worse. Watch the Elder Scrolls 6 be even worse than this game. I will be even more surprised than I am now. Now, even the menu already told you how the game is going to be. This is the most generic menu I've ever seen. Look at this. There's no soul here. There's no heart. There's just get this product out and give it to them. There's no creativity here. What? I mean, down to even the music is generic. It sounds like something that already been done before. Now you might be saying, Gibby, no, Bethesda's main menu has always been generic. Yeah, since Skyrim. Look at Fallout 3. Fallout 3 had a better menu than this. I mean, even Morrowind had a better main menu than this. Guys, this is not even close to being, oh my goodness. And this is not the only detail that they have messed up. Usually, you know, when you get in some of these games, you're like, oh my goodness, like even Fallout 3, just the main menu music and all of the slides that are going through as you're watching some of the comics and some of the, you know, the theme of the game is there. This game, yeah, the theme is there, generic and boring. There's nothing, you know, there's nothing eye-catching or ear-catching towards this game. It's just strictly, oh man, it at least is telling you what you're getting into. I'll give it that. At least it's telling you how boring it's going to be. Oh my goodness, man. But this is not the only detail these people messed up. There are a lot of things that I did not see in this game that was obviously in the old games that were done better. And that's the problem. Things were done better back then. It's just the downgrade that's messing this whole game up. It's a huge downgrade. So not only the main menu is the downgrade, but the graphics aren't even that good either. Some of the lighting are very poor in this game. I mean, there's one time where I came out of a store, a store, and just from the inside, it was very dark outside. Despite the sun was glowing and beaming down on, you know, it was very sunny out. Inside the store is before you even get out of the store, it's very dark. I'll try to put that on the screen, but the lighting is very poor in this game. And man, speaking of the sky, bro, the sky looks it looks like a bad JPEG. I'm gonna try to make a comparison here, but I remember playing the older games. At least I know the sky wasn't like all the way real, but at least it looked more realistic than this. I don't know what's going on in some of these planets. And by the way, how is it that there are clouds in different planets when it's not Earth? Did they ever even explain that in the game? I didn't get no explanation on that. Some of the planets it rains when it's like there was no explanation why that happened. And there are like empty planets where they had sky on, oh my god, they had clouds, which didn't make any sense. But that's one complaint there. So the lighting is very poor in this game, and mind you, I think they're still using the same engine in this game, right? I don't believe they changed engine, and that's already a major problem by itself, being that it's the same engine every year. I mean, at least enhance it. I don't even think this is an enhanced engine. This is still the same one that they've been using before. But yes, the lighting is very poor, and then by the way, there's no shadow in this game, and still to this day you cannot see your player's feet. You would think there would be an upgrade, and I know people gonna say, oh, this was in the old games too. Yeah, but you can't make that excuse that the old games did it, so this one has to have it too. This is a next gen game, guys. It has to enhance. It can't go lower. It can't get worse. It has to be better. I mean, there are many games that already have this feature. Why is it that Bethesda can't just put it in the game? There are no shadow for your player. There's no reflections. If you go in the bathrooms in this game, there's no reflections in the mirrors. It's just strict. You don't see in your player at all, and that breaks the immersion a little bit. That does. You can't just, you know, have this massive open world that kind of look realistic, but then you have, when you go into the bathroom, I can't see my reflection. I can't shoot through glass. The game, oh my gosh, dude, it breaks the immersion. Another detail I've actually seen that wasn't there either is that you can't pick up items. If you remember back in the old Fallout, oh yeah, all right, right there. games. You could pick up, I think you could, if you hold the L stick or you press it down, you could pick up items. I remember I'll put an example on the screen, but you could pick up anything. You could even pick up body parts. Yeah, you could pick up body parts. You could pick up a whole body. And in this game, you cannot do that. And speaking of body parts, there's no dismemberment in this game. I would love to see a fanboy of Bethesda explain why this isn't a big deal. The older games had dismemberment. Why in the world does this game don't have dismemberment? When you shoot the player or any enemy, usually, if back then you could have bloody mess where sometime when you shoot, and we'll get to the perks later, but you could have bloody mess and you could shoot the player, right? And it would explode. Their body would just explode. That's just a cool little fun factor that was in the game. No gore in this game. No matter if you shoot some of the enemies, they will blow up, right? If you shoot them, they will explode. No body parts anywhere. They just explode and their bodies stay right there. Nothing, just strictly. You can't even shoot the gun out of their hands. That's another detail that's missing from this game. Back then there was a mechanic where you could slow time. I forgot the name for it though, but you could slow down time and you could shoot either the weapons out of the enemy's hand. You could shoot their heads, their torsos, even in Fallout 1 you could even attack their eyes. That's how deep it went back then. But you could attack the weapon out of the enemy's hand. You could attack their legs, their heads. You could either blow all those members out of their body. This game has none of that. You just shoot until the health bar goes low. Oh man, back then you could get a critical hit. In this game there is a critical hit, but you don't know when it happens because none of the no dismemberment. So you just see on the screen it says critical hit and that's it. All it does is just stun the enemy for a few seconds and they go back to normal. Not that you don't feel the impact of when you shoot an enemy, you blow their head off. You blow their feet, their kneecaps off, or their hands off. There is none of that in this game. And if that's not a downgrade, then I don't know what a downgrade is. And I don't know how somebody can defend this part. And another thing that's missing, you cannot loot the clothes all off of the enemies or the NPCs. No naked dead NPCs allowed. Wow, man. No dead NPCs, fellas. It's over. No dead naked NPCs. So what is it like? Why did they take that out? What did they take that detail out? It has to be. There's no way. It has to be because it's offensive. There's no way. It has to be. It has to be. That's the conclusion I'm going with. It's deemed offensive. Even if you take someone, like for example, the pirates, even if you take their uniform, they still got the uniform on in the game. Oh my gosh. After they die on the ground, they still got their uniform on. Despite in the old games, you could literally strip them all the way down by taking their outfits. And God knows why did they take that out of the game. Isn't this game M for mature? This game is M for mature, right? Oh my gosh, this is an M for mature game. And you cannot blow people's head off. Then what makes it M for mature? Is it the shooting? That's it? Seriously? There's nothing in this game that would make it. This might as well just be a teenage game. Oh, I know why you can't take the clothes off. Oh, because we can't see women. You can't take off their clothes. Is that the reason why you take out the mechanic where you can strip enemies or NPCs? Is that the reason why? Oh, this might as well be a teenager game. It might as well. There's barely no profanity in this game either. When profanity would come up, it'll surprise me because I'm like, oh my gosh, this whole time I didn't hear any, and then out of nowhere, profanity. This is not a teenage game. This is not an E for everyone game. Why in the world is it M for mature if if you cannot even dismember, oh, you can't kill anything here, by the way. I might as well get into that. I'll probably get into that later, but you cannot dismember anything. And another thing I noticed that was taken out also is that the explosions are also lackluster. They are very, very lackluster. I would throw a grenade and I didn't see any of the whiplash, anything. I wouldn't see anything. It would just explode very quickly. No smoke, no like big impact in the spot that it exploded. I mean, good God, guys, how can you defend this game? There is no freaking way you can defend any of this. The older games already done this, and you mean to tell me you taking it out of the game? You now what? Now what do we have left? I mean, the RPG, I'm gonna speak about that later. The RPG is not good at all. So what do we have left when you strictly you take everything fun out of the game? Speaking of fun, let's talk about the worlds. I mean, these games, they rely on this also to make them good. Like, their worlds are usually appealing, very cool to look at. If you look at Fallout 3, even Fallout 1, Fallout New Vegas, if you look at the world, even Fallout 4, some of the parts are just nice to look at, and they're very detailed. Yeah, 16 times the detail. Yeah, they're very good to look at, right? They at least certain parts of them are very nicely made. I mean, I would say Fallout 3 is very generic. Some of the spots are very generic, but there are many spots that look well, some parts that I found that look very nice. I mean, remember the Oasis quest? That's a very good looking spot. Like, that spot, what you could tell that spot they put time and soul and sweat was put in these parts. Now, if we look at Starfield, you have remember they talked about 4 major cities. There's the New Atlantis, there is Aquila, there's Neon, there's Crimson. These are part of the other factions, but Crimson Fleet is on a ship somewhere, and then you got the Red Mile. So let's talk about New Atlantis. This is the one that they flexed, or they shown throughout the gameplay before the game came out, right? This is where they were, oh, you met the adoring fan, and we will talk about that later. This is the future area, right? Now, when I first stepped into this spot, this has to be the most generic spot you could step on, dude. None of these places are really, you could tell there was no heart soul put into these places, man. If this is how the future looks, then I don't care, man. Take me back to how we were before. I do not want the future. I do not care. This is supposed to be a fantasy game, guys, and this is what they could come up with. This is a spot that they made. This is, somebody thought, oh, this looks good for the future, guys. This is it. This is what we will publish out here. Bro, this has, I mean, oh my gosh. There was one part I went to where you could tell they weren't ready for players to even go here, or they weren't planning on players to go here. But since I have the jetpack, I flew by the waterfall. Trees going through look at this, going through polygons or whatever. I guess they didn't expect people to explore this far, huh? Wow, dude, they didn't expect people to go back here. Imagine making a game and not expecting the player to start cheesing. Of course we're going to cheese. Do developers not learn anything? Oh, there's this waterfall area. Oh my gosh, before we even get to the waterfall, that's another small detail that's not in the game, is no splashing. Bro, Even if you shoot at the water, the splash is just so bad. When you dive into water, there is no splash. There's no radius where the water, I'll put it on the screen. No splash at all. There's the splash noise, but there's no splash at all. And another thing is, you cannot even deep dive underwater. You can't. These are basic features that were in other games that are not in this game at all, man. You can't deep dive. And the thing is, even more unrealistic, you can just jump out of the water without it. Mind you, the water is supposed to be deep. The water is supposed to be very, very, very deep. And your player can just jump out of it like there's an invisible wall underneath. And guess what? That's the reason why you can jump out of the water like that, is because there's a invisible wall underneath the water. So they didn't want the player adventuring out, deep diving underneath water. They just wanted them to stay above surface. So what did they do? They added a stupid invisible wall underneath the player. And mind you, this is not the only invisible wall. Every map has an invisible wall. The first mod I've seen for this game was that to get rid of the invisible wall. So let me explain the invisible wall. You adventure out too far in the map, you hit an invisible wall. Try swim like this in Subnautica. Gibby snap. No, you can't do this. Subnautica is real and it works. Same in GTA 5. Yeah. Well, in GTA, oh, there it is. We got it. Bethesda exposed. And it tells you to turn around and go back to your ship or go back to the city. Now you're thinking, Gibby, what? That doesn't make any sense. This is an adventure game. I should be able to roam the whole planet. I shouldn't just roam one part of the planet or one city, right? And I should be able to adventure out throughout the whole planet, not some. Oh, no. You only can go in the city. Like, let's take Neon, for example. Neon, you only can adventure on the spot, like in the city. You cannot go outside the city. I tried to jump out of the city and go in the water and see if I can adventure far. No, you get stopped by an invisible wall telling you to go back. Oh my gosh. Instead of putting something cool like the old games used to do, maybe like an enemy you can't kill, or like something in the water. Remember, like Ratchet and Clank, there was like a fish that would eat you if you go in the water. Put something to stop the player. If you're gonna put, even though I still would have criticized this, but put something in the world that will stop me from going. Not a message or an invisible wall that's gonna tell me to turn around back. Bro, that breaks. If that doesn't break immersion, bro, I don't know how do you defend this? I want to hear the defense for the people that are shilling this game. How in the world do you defend this? Bro, it breaks the immersion when I see, now I can't adventure out. Despite this game, what they advertised was that you could adventure out. Even Todd Howard said this is an adventure game. Now, that's not something you want to hear in this game, but he said it himself. This is an adventure game, and you should be able to get out of you should be able to scatter. You explored the whole world. You shouldn't have a spot where it's just strictly, oh no, that's it. You have a restriction. You can't go past this invisible wall. Now, something else I learned about this game is that this game is technically not an open world. Now, let me say this. It's technically sandbox on every planet. Very huge sandbox on every planet. It's not an open world game. Because let's go back to the Neon spot again. The Neon place, right? It's just a big city. You thinking, okay, maybe I can go into every room. I can explore. Since they didn't bother to make any detail on outside of the city, I'm thinking, okay, maybe I can explore every room. I can explore everything. No, most of these rooms are just loading screens. So you walk into a door, loading screen until the next room. So here's how the immersion is broken again. Because now I'm thinking, no, I'm just being teleported into another room. I'm not actually in this city. This is just the game's telling me this is one part of the city. You can adventure as much as you can here. You go into a hallway or you go into a door. It teleports you into another room. And then bam, this is another part of the city that you can explore. It's not like where, and I know the old games had loading screens. I know that. But there were many parts where you would go in a building and it will have a door that just opens into another room, which shows that the building is connected. But in this game, especially in that neon city, bro, you will enter a door, loading screen, into another room, and then you'll get to that room, right? If you have to go to another room, you enter that loading screen, and then you will get, oh my gosh, into the other room. Bro, how did they think this was a good idea? But this is a next gen game, and I have more loading time than the older games. How is that possible? Speaking of loading time, have you ever heard somebody call this game a loading simulator? That's because it is a loading simulator, guys. Strictly, you get into oh my good, I'm getting there. Strictly, you get into a door, it's just loading everywhere. You can't get on the planets without a loading screen. You can't run through a hallway. You can't get in caves without a loading screen. I mean, good God. I know people again going to say, oh, the older games had loading screen. But I did not sit in a loading screen for this long in the older games. And by older games, I mean Fallout 3 and New Vegas. Fallout 4 had long loading screens also. This game, it said, this game just technically said, hold my mug. I could do better. I could have longer loading screens. And it does. Man, there was one time where I was sitting on a loading screen. And I'm thinking, man, this is the longest loading screen I've ever had. And it was at least, I would say it was at least almost 4 minutes worth of loading screen time. And this is on the Xbox. I'm not playing on the PC. I'm not playing on a good computer or a very powerful PC. No, this is on the Xbox and the Xbox Series X. And you mean to tell me I'm still loading for this long? Oh my gosh. Who thought this was a good idea, bro? And for somebody to shill this game, you gotta be a faggot. There's no freaking way you sitting there you shilling this game the whole time and not mentioning all of these problems. And I will get into the shills later. But godly, good God knows this game breaks your immersion the first 3 seconds in the game. And these are just the details I'm talking about. I'm not even in the RPG spot yet. So yeah, you have Akita and then you have Neon. Well, Akita is the city where the cowboy is. And that city's even more generic. Dude, you run out. I tried to adventure out and run out. There's only caves. I think I've met one settlement or a little community that was there, but it had no big story. I did one quest for them. I went and got food for them, entered a cave, and then came back. Oh my gosh. You know how in Fallout New Vegas, shoot, Fallout 3, you will find a little community and you will see they'll have a cool little story behind them, a cool backstory. It made it seem like these people had a life before you came there. This game has none of that. And I know we're getting into RPG territory. I'm gonna try not to get deeper, but even if I try to adventure out in this game, and by the way, I'm not exploring all 1,000 planets. I don't care. I don't care to explore 1,000 planets. I will not get there. Even if so, right? I'd venture out throughout some of the world just to see maybe I can find something cool. Maybe I can find like a secret alien race that's, that nobody has found yet. No. And from the research that I've done, I haven't seen anybody found something cool, like a cool alien race or a cool cave. Mind you, they all have caves, and the caves are strictly there for you to just get materials and get out. And guess what? That's not fun. That's not fun. That is boring. And when you have a settlement or some type of community that just tell you to go get this, you kill an animal, you get the meat, and you come back. Guys, that's not fun. That is Fallout 4 all over again. It's not cool. It's not fun. And this is why I say Bethesda learned from their previous game. They seen that people didn't mind infinite trash quest, so they brought it back here also. Instead of going in depth into the community, maybe the community is running out of water or something. Maybe the community is running out of food, and you have to make a big decision where, you know, I don't know, something. Make a story there that gives the player a choice and an impact in that little settlement. You could just skip it and it doesn't matter. Literally, you could just skip it and they don't care. They go back. Even when you come back later, I'm sure they'll still ask you for the same thing. Hey, can you go get food in this cave for me? Nothing changes. And I will talk about that later, especially with this ending that happened, right? So you got the Crimson Fleet. That is another spot. That's another faction. And their spot is on a base. Their base is on a ship. So, you know, and it's not that cool. It's just a ship. You walk through a bunch of hallways and you move on. You even have the Vigilance. They're located on the ship also. You got the Red Mile area. I mean, I thought I was gonna go to this spot and maybe gamble or something and do some cool side quest activities. And speaking of side activities, there's nothing cool in this game to do. You can't do anything. You can't gamble. You can't, I don't know, man. There's nothing besides main missions to do in this game. What is the point of replaying this game if there's no cool side quests? And by the way, the side quests are literally the same as Fallout 4's one, Radiant Quest, where you do the same thing over and over. And I think I heard somebody said this game had infinite quests. Jesus, who thought this was I'm done complaining about that. So you had the Red Mile, and the Red Mile, oh my gosh, it's just not good. That's all I could say, because it's very generic where there's nothing to do. I think you can purchase property in some of the areas, but that's it. Is that the only thing? I understand if the story was top tier and these were lackluster, I'll still criticize it, but it wouldn't take a big tone. You know, it wouldn't be a big part of the criticism. But since the story is so bad, these little things pile up and they add on. They make the game even worse than it was already intended to be. So, meaning it's just bad. And I kind of want to also speak about the NPCs in the game. Oh my God. Bro, this is...
hard day's work than a cup of easy sleep tea.
Bro, this is supposed to be a woman, bro. This is supposed to be a woman.
I can't be. Why the hell did you do that?
I had to. Oh my God, she just pulled out a... Man, you deserve to die too.
In the galaxy. Enjoy a cup right now.
Jesus. You deserve to get blasted, bro. What you looking at, my guy? Is that a guy? Is that a girl? That's a girl. What's up with this box top? Oh my! Has Bethesda ever met anybody in real life?
In fact, things have been going so well. For when my lockdown.
I've seen videos about this. But guys, I'm thinking, Oh my, the NPCs are even worse than the older NPCs. Oh my, just give them, my God, everywhere you go. I'm going to state this now since I'm here. Everywhere you go, there is a female leader. Every single faction, every single spot you go, there's a female leader. And I'm asking myself, is this really the future? Females will lead? So you mean to tell me Beyonce was right? Girls run the world. In Todd Howard world, women run the world? You mean to tell me women are the first to go into war? There was this faction that had a female leader that they had war. And you mean to tell me the female are the one taking charge? Where are the men? And any men you meet in half of these factions, or most of these factions I've met, they all got cucked. All of the, especially the white guys. I mean, guys, if this is not a freaking ESG or whatever, woke, whatever thing you want to call it, then I don't know what woke is, bro. Every single faction I went to, there's always a female leader. And mind you, I haven't seen any children in any of these cities. I think I've seen about 2 children throughout my run. And I'm asking myself, if we have all of these females, where in the world are the children? Oh, that's right. Because they are working and they're on the front lines and they are at war. They are doing they are bosses. There are so many female bosses. Because there are so many female bosses and female leaders, there are no children. And because the guys are getting cucked and there's no guy ahead of you, mean to tell me if this is the future, bro, then don't bring me to the future. If this is Todd Howard future and I'm supposed to get immersed in this world, bro, I'm supposed to fantasize and be like, oh, this is cool to be in this world. My immersion instantly broke once I seen all of the leaders are female. Yeah, there are some male leaders, but guess what? The male leaders are actually the bad guys.
Don't presume to question me. You know who I am. That two-faced bastard kept the slate. Oh, I suppose this is his revenge against the Council of Governors for what happened during the war. I'm impressed, Deputy. It's clear you have a bright future ahead of you.
What's going on? What is this about, Mr. Hope?
Nothing that concerns you, Birgit. In fact, why don't you make yourself scarce?
All the female leaders are good. All of the female leaders can't be killed. That's just another thing, but we'll talk about that later. But there are so many females in this game, and none of them look good. None of them are even a 3 out of 10. All of the females in this game are, fine, I'm not gonna say all, most, if not all, are ugly. You can't tell me this is next generation and you have females that look like this. You have generic, ugly whale monsters, I don't know, creatures. I mean, good God. And you mean to tell me another mod I've seen also throughout my research is people were modding in more white people. And I was at first I didn't really pay attention to the NPCs until I played again, and I noticed, yeah, there are more ethnic people than there are white people. So you mean to tell me Todd being the straight white male, right? Todd, I'm hoping Todd is straight. You mean to tell me, Todd, there are no white guys? So you telling me white people are getting extinct? There's a mass genocide? What the heck happened to the white people? You mean to tell me it's strictly ethnic, ugly Asians? You got ugly black people in the game. Jeez, look at these creatures, bro. Look, I will put some of the examples on the screen. Look at these creatures. Look at these abominations, these creations. Who in the world at Bethesda Studio thought this was a good idea? Who sat there and said, oh man, this is so this is how females look in the future. This is how people will look in the future. If this is how females look in the future, you might as well kill me now, bro. I don't want to be in that future. I don't want to be part of that. And we all know the reason. We all know the reason why they went to this part. I mean, there was one other part. I went to, I don't know what, I think I was sent to talk to a leader of another faction. As soon as I got there, it was a black female, and I was like, oh, just give him the ESG score, bro. Just give him the ESG score. It's not even, it's just, you know why they're doing it. And to tell me that white people are getting extinct is crazy. I mean, bro, I will speak about this later down on the video also, but I have to talk about this because it is a part of the world. And for me to go into every city in every world or every faction, for them to have a female leader and strictly just females and black females only, you are an absolute, guys, I don't even know how to express myself anymore, because it's getting tiring and it's getting annoying to just see only this. And I will speak about this later, man, but that's another detail that was in the game. Half of the cities are boring to explore. They're not worth your time. They're not interesting. The designs are not original. It's not cool. It's not eye-catching. It just doesn't make sense. And to tell me this is what Todd thought was the magnum opus blows my mind. God almighty, have mercy on my soul. This is no good, fellas. And I haven't even gotten into the RPG yet, the story yet.
Seals are good. Oxygen's good. Just do what you did last time, and you're fine. Follow my one simple rule. Hella, what's my one simple rule?
Listen to Lynn. Boss lady knows best.
From the beginning of the game, there's already a guy getting cucked. It didn't even take a few minutes. The game is already telling you what it's going to be about. That's something I learned about Bethesda. Actually, any of these Fallout games, usually the beginning shows you, like the tutorial section shows you how everything is going to be in the game. Fallout 3 showed you the same thing. New Vegas showed you that it's absolute freedom. You literally have to, you can even get a speech check, I think, in the beginning part of New Vegas. Literally, they didn't even go through any story yet. You're already getting, I think even science you can get checked on that. You can get speech check. It's very quick, right? In Starfield, in the beginning of the game, the tutorial, you already know what the game's going to be about. It already told you what it's going to be about. You're going to look for resources. That's one thing you started doing already, looking for resources, and you shoot enemies. Literally the two things that the game showed. You don't even get to get a speech check the first part of the game. You talk to a few people, but you don't get anything. You don't get no choice of doing anything yet. So the game already tells you what it's going to be about, what it's like, what the game is about, right? So the first part, you know, you start mining. I already said that, you mining, and then after that, pirates come out of nowhere and you just start shooting, and then after that you go to New Atlantis. That's literally the start of the game. And dude, even getting out of the tunnel or the cave don't even come close to how good Fallout 3 did it when you came out of the vault, or even Fallout 4, or even New Vegas when you came out of the house. It didn't even come close to being as good. But that's that right there, right? So let us talk about this story. I'm just gonna say it now. My game got bugged and I didn't get to finish the story. And guess what? I'm not going to restart the whole game because it's that boring. I'm not going to restart the whole game just so I can see the ending of the game. So I just went online and searched it up. Only thing I was looking forward to is if you made an impact and if you made a change, and we would get to that later down below, right? So the story, this is a science fiction, this is a fantasy, right? How can everybody in the story be the same people as the modern people that the way we are now? Let's see, everybody speak the same jokes. I remember ranting about this in God of War Ragnarok. Same language, same accent, same way. Everybody looked the same, or even worse, but everybody look the same, everybody speak the same, everybody do the same thing. There's no alien race where you get to, it's a whole different language. Maybe you know why I didn't do that, because it would have took too much work just to think of have a language or make up some type of language where you can, your player has to learn it, or you have to learn these people's way or these aliens' way. There's none of that. The faction are literally not interesting whatsoever. You have the Crimson Fleet, which are just space pirates. You got the Vigilance, which if I killed them early, so I don't know, what they're about all the way, but it seems like they were like a Brotherhood of Steel. You have the United Colonies, the Constellation. These people, they believe there's something out in the world, and this is where your main quest, you strictly have to stay with this faction to finish your main quest. So you have them. They believe something's out in the world. They were looking for artifacts. They like to adventure. They like they science people, right? You have those people. You have the Red Mile people. I don't know what they're about. Even to this day, I don't know. After playing countless hours, I still don't know what these people are about. You got the Cowboy Ranger people. They all about, I don't know, capturing bad guys, space pirates. They're all about, they technically the police of the universe. Dude, none of any of these factions that I have just stated are remotely interested. They're not even close. They're not even mildly interested. The keyword mild, they're not even there. They are generic, and none of their quests even, not even their quests are interesting. So I'll give you one quest, or a couple quests. So there was this one quest where this was for the Crimson Fleet, where you had, it's called Crick's Legacy or whatever. So there was this guy that was originally, I think, in the Crimson Fleet, and he stumbled upon a bunch of credits. That already sounds generic as it is. Credits are the currency in this game. So he stumbled upon a bunch of credits, and your mission now is in order for you to join the Crimson Fleet, you have to find his stash or whatever. So this quest is strictly, I'm gonna tell you what this quest is all about. You ready? This quest is strictly you going somewhere, shoot, come back, give information. You going somewhere, shoot, come back, give information. You going somewhere again for the last time and actually finding the stash, shoot, get out of the ship, report back to your leader. I know there's gonna be a retard in the comment, or maybe somebody thinking, oh well, that's just, that's how every other game is. That's how every other game, you have a quest, you go here, you get a reward, you come back, you report, get a reward. My guy, this is an RPG. Dude, do you know what an RPG is? I'm supposed to have a choice. I'm supposed to put an impact in this faction right here. I'm the main character. I'm supposed to leave a legacy, leave some type of impact in this faction. And I did not. All I did was finish their quest, and they were happy, and they move on. I didn't get no consequence. It didn't interfere with the other faction they were conflicting with, which was the Vigilance. I just killed the leader of the vigilance, and it changes nothing. Nobody came after me. I had no bounty on my head. No, like, there was no consequence. It was strictly you shoot, 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 come back. And oh my gosh, even the dialogue in this game. So let's look at the dialogues too. So you have either, it's literally Fallout 4 again, bro. It's Fallout 4 all over again. Fallout 4 didn't tell you what you were going to say. And remember, Fallout 4 had either sarcastic, yes, maybe, or no, right? That was the 4 things you could pick. In this game, it's the same thing, but this time they added persuasion in the game. And mind you, the persuasion mechanic is literally random sometimes. Sometime it works, sometime you get lucky and you get there. And you usually, if you want to get better persuasion, there's these like pills you can take where it gives you more points on persuasion. So you will, in everybody I've spoken to, it's either I pay caps to know the information, I either persuade to lower the caps I have to pay, or I have to do a mission for the person I was sent to get the information from. And that mission is always go kill somebody and come back and show me the proof. Once you got the proof, then you can get the information from me. Or I can skip that, go kill that person, and I could just pay the caps, which caps is not a problem in this game. You can literally, you get millions of caps. I think I had like 500,000 by the time I got halfway through the story and I got bugged. 500,000. I can easily pay 1,000 caps just to get the information. You don't get no option to use any of your talents or skills just so you can either, solve a solution by your skills, or you don't have enough skills and you even if you try it, you don't get to solve it, or there's no other way to get factions or quests done without killing anybody. It's strictly you go here, your first guy, your leader gives you some type of quest, go here, get information, come back to the main leader. But when they send you to that person, you either have to do something for them, which is killing most of the time, or you have to pay them caps to get the information, or you persuade them or manipulate them. Manipulation, by the way, comes all the way from another quest you do, a main quest you do, which gives you some type of implant in your brain. Yeah, I know.
Obviously, we'll be putting you under. I'll be making a small incision in the back of your skull where the internal neuroamp will be fitted.
No way!
Illuminati confirmed. So it's oh my gosh. So there's a faction named Ryujin, and they strictly deal with technology also. So if you do one of their quests, they will give you an implant and you forced to get it. You don't get an option to say, no, I don't want the implant. What if you don't want the implant? No, you don't get an option. You have to get the implant. And once you get the implant, you get the power to manipulate characters or NPCs to do certain things. I didn't even get to use this because I stopped playing the game again because my quest got bugged. I stopped playing. So you get to manipulate NPCs. So that's when you unlock the dialogue. And the thing is, this always works. I never failed. Actually, I think I failed this once, but from the time I used this, it didn't change anything. The only thing it did was, oh, it says Sarah didn't like that. Your companion, which is Sarah, it would just say she didn't like that just because you're manipulating people, right? So that's where the manipulation thing came from. So you either manipulate or persuade a character to lowering their bargain. Instead of having a perk that has that, right? you persuade them into lowering their amount of credits they're willing to for you to pay for you to get the information. And guys, this is an RPG. go play 5 minutes of Fallout New Vegas. You already see that the game is majorly different from this game right here. This is, again, I agree with the person that said this is Fallout 4 in space, because it's exactly like Fallout 4. Exactly the same thing. No consequence, no actual speech checks. The only way to get a job done is either to kill or manipulate. That, and this results to every playthrough being the same way. And speaking of every playthrough being the same way, you will literally pick the same perks or the skill tree. Let's talk about the skill tree. So you will pick the same skill tree every time you play the game. The same perks, you will pick the same one every time you play the game. These are the major perks: more health, more things to carry, lockpick, and I think that's it. Or jetpack. Those are the 5 major perks that I could think of that you will automatically pick every time you play the game. You want to know why I say that? That's because the other skills are not even that interesting. There's no point of even putting the other ones are like exploring and being able to survive in space for longer, or like your your character there's like a whole bunch of things when you go in space, dealing with air and pressure, blah blah blah. So the perks, all of them are boring. That's all you need to know. All of them are boring. All of them are not fun. Remember back then where you had fun perks and you had normal traits, or you had perks and then you had traits. You had fun perks, fun things you could add to your playthrough that would make your build different. For example, like Lady Killer you could have back then. That's something cool you could have. Those are fun things. Oh, let me guess. Lady Killer. Oh, I don't know. I don't want females to be. Oh my gosh, bro. We all know the reason why. All the fun perks are just not there. All of the skill trees. Oh my gosh. I can't believe. I asked myself. I couldn't believe how they went. How did they make the Fallout 4 perk category or perk tree worse in this game? How is that possible? Guys, I'm being 100% when I say this. None of the perks after the ones I stated are even worth your time. You will not waste the time. And the thing is, that's one thing I forgot to mention. Throughout my gameplay, I was trying to figure out, how do I pickpocket people? Why can't I pickpocket anybody? Why am I strictly, running around? I'm crouching trying to pickpocket people because I'm trying to play the game a different way. Because the only 2 options they gave you, like I said, were persuasion and killing. So I'm trying to play the game a different way just to see if I can at least, if I have to steal something from somebody, instead of killing them and then picking up the thing out of their corpse, can I sneak up and then can I pickpocket them? So I figured out that throughout my first part of the playthrough, I couldn't pickpocket anybody, right? So I'm like, wow, so the game doesn't have pickpocketing at all? So later down the line in the game, I noticed you have to unlock pickpocketing. I do not remember that being in the previous games. I remember you could steal if you really wanted to. Yes, you had to upgrade the perk or get better at it by, want to know how you got better at it? You kept pickpocketing. I remember getting XPs for pickpocketing people. This game is not the same way. You have to unlock pickpocketing. Then it's going to ask you to at least pickpocket, let's say 10 people. And then you can unlock a level 2 of the pickpocketing, which gives you a better chance of getting things out of people or pickpocketing people better. If that's not the gayest thing you ever hear, then I don't know what is, bro. Everything is a problem in this game. I can't even think of one thing that's good. I mean, my goodness. And back to the story. So, from the ending I've seen, if we look at any of the old Fallouts, any of them, they usually give you a slider on what you have done throughout the world. Fallout 3, if you had bad karma, you had different endings. And by the way, over 200 endings. We're not even going to get to that. So you have different sliders, and there's a narrator that will tell you what you have done and the impact you've done in the wasteland, right? Fallout 1 did that beautifully. Fallout 2, I didn't play that yet, so I will play that. I'm sure it done it beautifully. Fallout 3, yeah, it had that. So it still had it. It still told you what you've done and what happened, right? Fallout 4 was even bigger downgrade from that one. But it still told you what happened towards the end of the game. This game, the factions do not matter. You can join every faction, by the way. Crimson Fleet, you can join. Red Mile, you can join the Vigilance if you want. You can join some gangs if you want. You can join everything in this game. And you're thinking, okay, maybe if I can join everything, there has to be some type of ending where it shows me what happened to that faction or to these people if, you know, I join, or if I decide to go against them, or if I decide to, you know, I messed up on a quest somewhere, you know, like Fallout New Vegas did. Good God. Fallout New Vegas showed you every faction you encountered, every settlement you encountered. It gave you an update to what happened after you know, got there. So in this game, you do not get that. You either get 3 endings from what I've seen: the good ending, the bad ending, or the continuing my playthrough ending. Wow. If that's not an RPG at that point. This is not an RPG. This is strictly just a shooter, and you get every game has different endings now. This is not what an RPG, a true Bethesda or RPG is about. Even Baldur's Gate had more RPG element, despite how degenerate that game was, just bad. Despite that, it still had different endings you could have. Why is it in this game I only get 3 endings, and it's supposed to be this is Todd's magnum opus, 7 years in the workings, and I don't barely get any choices. The choices do not matter, because the whole point of the game is for you to get strictly to the end and figure out what the artifacts do. Once you get to the artifacts, your guy is technically the guy from Skyrim, because after you finish the game, you can start a Starborn run. If you remember Skyrim, you had Dragonborn. It's the same thing. You unlock perks, you get cool, you know, little gravity powers, and that is what the story is about. And the thing is, they went this cop-out route where they made everybody in the world forget your player. So so what happened is they went this Marvel route where they wiped out everybody's memory of you. So the thing is, you are in a different alternate reality after you end the game. So just so you can start the game over and keep looping and playing the game over and over. This is what Bethesda love. They love to give you a million quests, a million, loop, the same thing over and over. They value quantity over quality. So the game will restart and nobody will remember you. You'll just state that you're from a different dimension, and then bam, you start the game all over again. You find the artifacts, you unlock the powers again, and it just keeps going. If this is not a failure, I'm just asking myself, how are the shield? There is no, okay, man, at least thank God people didn't buy this game. I pray people didn't buy this game. Wait, 6 million people bought this game? It's over, bro. Oh my gosh, total the Bethesda. Somebody need to, I don't know. 6 million people bought this game. 6 million. I'm thinking everybody's waiting for, you know, reviews to come out and then they'll purchase. No, 6 million. There's no way that's true. That has to be fake. That's not true. There is no way 6 million people bought this game. Oh my gosh. I'm perplexed. This is not true. 6 million. There's nothing more to say, guys. There's a lot. I can't even think of anything good about this game. Let me guess what people are gonna say is good about this game. Let me guess that you can vault things now. That's one thing I noticed that was new. You could look around while being in dialogues. That's another thing. What's cool? What else is cool in this game? What? The weapons? Even if we speak about the weapons. Oh my gosh. I'm thinking there's going to be like some crazy alien weapon. Cool. You know, this is this is a science fantasy. This is a science fiction. Dude, and there are no cool weapons. No big alien weapon. The aliens that we've met, by the way, that you met, are just animal aliens. They're just weird looking animals. I haven't found anything. I was thinking we were gonna be able to find like some type of waifu and some different alien race. No. Even the weapons, I thought we were gonna find some crazy laser, something, you know, insane, some creativity, bro. Even Fallout had better weapons than this. How is this possible? And we were not even in this science fiction world. We were in the post-apocalyptic, you know, that world. But now we're in the science fiction world. You mean to tell me none of the weapons are cool? Everything is the same. You still got the AK-47, M1911, Dragunov. You got shotguns that are looking. This game is technically Call of Duty Infinite Warfare with a little bit of RPG elements in it. That's it. If you ever played Call of Duty Infinite Warfare's campaign, you will not see the difference between the two here. You will not see. Oh my gosh, guys. Oh my gosh. This is no good. This is no good. And I do want to talk about other details that I didn't also point out too. If you remember in Fallout, you had the Pit Boy. And one thing that Todd hyped up in this game was the watch. I'm thinking, okay, at least we're gonna be able to pull up the watch. Maybe, yeah, it looked generic, even from the gameplay I've seen before the game came out. Yeah, it looked generic, but I'm thinking we're gonna be able to pull out the watch and be able to, you know, I don't know, mess with it. There's some cool stuff you could do in the watch. No, you get the watch one time, and after that, you don't see it anymore, and it stays in the bottom left of your screen. And mind you, it's not even that good. The UI is so generic. Oh my gosh. The watch doesn't even work that well. Sometimes if it wasn't for this scanner thing that allows you to see where the main gives you like some type of it shows you where to go. If it wasn't for the scanner, the watch does not help whatsoever. And most of the game, you strictly stay in the menu anyways. It breaks the immersion more than Fallout. You know how Fallout, you pull out the Pit Boy and, you know, you get to search what you're doing. You get to mess with the Pit Boy and you search your inventory. This game, you have to press start and then you gotta go around on the menu. So it breaks your immersion worse than Fallout. I remember people complaining how Fallout, you could pull out the Pit Boy and it stops the whole game, and that breaks the immersion. Bro, this breaks the immersion even more because you have to press start to just go on the menu and search your inventory, search your quest. Guys, I can't find anything good. This has to be the worst game to ever come out. The worst Bethesda game, the worst RPG. This will go down as the worst RPG ever. This will not. I cannot believe there are shills out there. I cannot believe people are defending this. I cannot believe this is a real thing. I can't believe 6 million people purchased this. The West have officially fallen. There's no way. There is no way this is real. Guys, if this even get talked about being game of the year, then I don't know. Gaming is officially dead. Yeah, gaming is dead. I mean, I've said this before, but gaming is dead. Gaming is dead. And to see all of this ESG woke, quote unquote woke cheese in this game constantly, and for people, because I've seen some videos, and for people to say this doesn't matter or this is not a real thing. Oh, it doesn't matter, you could just mod it out, or you could just bypass it because, you know, they have they them. You could just pick he and whatever she, right? Are you a retard? Are you dumb? Are you not seeing what these people are doing? Where are these people's eyes? Where are the true gamers? Because how in the world are people making shield reviews and not pointing any of this out, and not caring, and not really sitting there and, you know, telling the people what's in this game? How do people do this? If we think Bethesda's the problem, the shields are the bigger problem, because they are wasting everybody's time and they are giving people false hope in these industries and lying blatantly right in their face and not telling them what's in this game. And to have somebody like Actman say this game is not woke, pure faggotry, pure cuckoldry, pure, like, this is you guys' favorite YouTuber, him, Actman, saying this is nothing, this is okay, this is fine, when he was back then calling people faggots and saying, you know, all these edgy words. And then now all of a sudden, just because the time has changed, he has changed. And you can't tell me this is a good thing, guys. And these are the YouTubers that they have. I shouldn't have to come on here and tell you about this. These bigger YouTubers should do the job for us. They shouldn't. I shouldn't have to come. I only have 1,000 subs. I shouldn't have to come down here and tell you about this and rant about this. And, you know, I'm speaking on behalf of white people, and I'm not even white. And you got Actman being white and straight, which you would think, I don't know, maybe he's not straight, you would think would come out and speak against this. But when somebody did speak against it, he would come out of nowhere and go against that. And that just blows my mind, that these guys have no care in the world, no morals, no type of thought. What they care about is mostly, how can I get the most money? And this should make you guys mad. This shouldn't make anybody happy. This is not a good thing, because they're the one ruining the game, the future games. Because remember when I talk about how Bethesda learned from the previous games? They saw that the shields Skyrim, before they even got shields, people were shilling Skyrim, and then Fallout 4 came out, there were even more shields, and then people are making reviews after reviews saying it's good. And then you got this game, you got even more people putting out their reviews and saying it's good, and not really criticizing the game, and not really going in depth in telling you how bad the RPGs are. This game is strictly supposed to be about story and choice and cool ending and making people think about their choice before they do it. Starfield has none of that, and for somebody to come out and make a whole review and not even point that out is absurd and is very misleading and very scammy at that. And it's not fair to the viewers, it's not fair to the gamers. And of course, yes, I know there are Bethesda fanboys that will buy anything, but there are gamers that do want to know, should they buy this or not? I shouldn't have to come on here and say this. Smaller channels shouldn't have to come here and say this. They should already do this job for us. I think I'm done ranting, guys. You guys let me know what you think about Starfield. I'm literally getting a headache right now because of how bad this is. And I know this video is long. I know people won't get it to this far, but guys, it's getting out of hand. And if you didn't believe gaming is dead, this should already prove that this is the biggest disaster ever. This is the biggest disaster since 2077.